Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I have some simple card designs that I want to share with you that you can use for Easter or any other occasion. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have 4 different quick and simple card ideas to share with you that you can use to create Easter cards or cards for any other occasion. Now, the cards feature the Easter Friends stamp set from Stampin' Up, and they also feature some of the pattern paper from the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper pack. Okay, the first 2 cards I have to share with you feature the fun little Easter bunny, or the little bunny image from the Easter Friends stamp set. So I'm going to show you how to create these 2 cards first. So we will start with this design. So the first thing I did is took a piece of soft seafoam cardstock, and then I just embossed the front with the ornate floral 3D embossing folder. You can use any embossing folder that you have on hand just to add a little bit of texture to the front of your card. Next, I cut a rectangular shape which measures about 2 1/8 by 3.5 inches. So I'm going to use this to stamp the little bunny image. Now, I decided to use gray granite to do all of my stamping and coloring for the bunny, but you can use any color. You know, the browns will work, anything you like. So we'll just stamp the image, and then I'm just going to use my Stampin' Blends to color it in. So I'm going to use the darker Stampin' Blend to just kind of highlight some of these areas that are shaded on the image. So the nice thing about this stamp set is that these images are distinctive images, which means they're just more detailed so that when you stamp them, the stamp really does all the work for you. And now I'm just going to use the light gray granite, and I'm just going to go around and add a little bit of lighter gray all over the bunny. Okay, so that just kind of tones it down a little bit. So now we'll bring our card base back. The next thing I did is just cut a 1 by 4 1/4 inch piece of designer paper. So this is just going to go right across the bottom. So then I took a 1 by 4 1/4 inch piece of polished pink cardstock, and I just tore it in half. So I used half on here, and I'm going to use this other half on this piece. So I'm just going to add some glue down on the bottom here first, and I'm going to glue my torn piece to the bottom of my designer paper. And then once I have that glued on, then I can just go ahead and adhere it to the bottom of my card front. The next thing I did is I just cut a little piece of one of those Heart and Home doilies. So this is just 1/4 of the doily. And I'm just going to adhere this right off the side just to kind of dress up the side of my rectangle shape. Okay, and then I just added some dimensionals on the back, and then we'll just go ahead and adhere this right to the center of our card front. Then I just cut out one of the little floral images from the designer paper, and I'm just going to pop that up, put that right in the center there so it looks like the bunny is holding it. And the last thing I did is just kind of wrap some twine around the card front, the entire card front twice, and tied it into a little bow. And then I just embellished with a few pearls. And then on this one, I decided not to put my greeting on the front. Instead, I put a little Easter message on the inside. So it's just super cute, and it's super simple. Okay, so let's talk about how to create the second card. So you're again going to start with a piece of soft seafoam cardstock for the base of your card. So this is just a standard card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, scored in the middle at 4 1/4 inches to create the base of the card. So it's the same card base that I'll be using for all 4 of the cards I'm sharing today. The next thing I did is just cut a 2 by 5.5 inch piece of designer paper. So you can use any pattern paper that you have on hand. This is just a piece from the Pansy Petals Designer Series paper pack. Then I cut a 1.5 by 5 inch piece of a different pattern, and I just snipped the bottom into a little banner to create this piece, and so I'm just overlaying that onto the other one. It just kind of gives it a little bit of contrast. Then I took a 2 3/8 inch white circle shape, and I stamped my little bunny on there. And then I cut out one of the scalloped shapes that's just a little bit larger from a piece of soft succulent cardstock. So I'm just going to adhere these two together. And then I'm going to add a little doily. So this is one of those heart and home doilies. So I tend to use the white side a lot. So I'm just going to add this right in the center here. All right, so then we will just add this to our card front so it makes a really nice focal point. So I just popped it up with a couple dimensionals. Then I just cut a 3/4 by 3-inch piece of white cardstock and stamped a greeting on it. So I'm just going to put this over the top. So I just used polished pink, which coordinated with my designer paper. And then of course we'll add another one of these little florals right in the center there, so it looks like the bunny is holding the floral. Okay, and then the last thing I did is just add a little bit of twine and some pearls to embellish the outside. And then on the inside, I just used up some of my scrap pieces of designer paper. So super cute. So here is card number 2. So the last 2 card ideas feature the cute little chicks, so I'm going to show you how to create these. So we'll start with this card first. So the first thing you need is a piece of white cardstock for the base of the card. Then you just need a 2 3/4 inch long piece of designer paper. So it can be as wide as you want it, but it definitely has to be about 2 3/4 inches long. And I'm just going to put it on the side of the card here. Then you're going to cut a 5 by 3 3/4 inch piece of a different piece of pattern paper. And this is going to go over off of the right hand side here. So it's going to overlap onto this piece. This next piece is 3 by 4 inches. And so I'm going to use this piece. I've added just a little decorative border on the bottom here using the basic border dies. But I'm going to use this piece to create my focal point. So I'm going to start by stamping the larger image first, and this is going to go on the left-hand side. So I'm stamping using some black Memento ink. So black Memento ink works great with the Stampin' Blends. And then I'll just stamp the little guy right next to him. And then I'm just using some Daffodil Delight to color in my images. So I'm using the darker color, the darker Daffodil Delight, just to kind of color in the shaded areas of this image. And then we'll go over and color the rest of it in with the lighter. So this will just kind of accent it really nicely. You'll see the darker shade and then you'll see the lighter shades. And then I'm just using some pumpkin pie to just kind of color in the rest of the image here. So this will give it a nice little orange color. And there we go. So we're ready to finish assembling our card. So I again took a little 1/4 piece of a doily and I'm gonna add this off the left side of my card here, of this little focal point. So we'll add that right on there. Just kind of accents it nicely. Okay, so we can go ahead and add our focal point. So I just popped it up with a couple dimensionals. And you can use your light gray granite just to add, you know, a little bit of contrast down here on the bottom, so it doesn't look like your images are hanging out there. The next thing I did is I did a little bit of heat embossing on some black cardstock using some white embossing powder. And for this one, I left it all one word, but here I just kind of broke it up into 2, just to, so that you could kind of see the difference. And we'll just layer this on here. But I cut these out just using a scissors. So I just cut around the words so that I could use them on my card as a little embellishment. Then I tied 2 pieces of twine together to create a little bow. So I'm just gonna add this over on the side. I like to add my bows with a little glue dot. Okay, and then I just added a couple little embellishments and that's really it. On the inside, I again used up some of my designer paper just to decorate the inside. So which one of the greetings do you prefer? Do you prefer it straight across or do you prefer it just kind of layered together? Leave me a comment below and let me know. Okay, so here is the last Easter card idea I have for you. So let me show you how to make this one. So for this one, I embossed my card front using that ornate floral 3D embossing folder. Like I said, you can use any embossing folder that you want. The next thing I did is just cut a 2 by 5 inch piece of designer paper. So I'm just going to put that right down the center. Then I cut a 3 by 4 inch piece of a different pattern. So in this case, I'm just using the yellow to kind of accent the little chick that I'm going to put on here. Then I just cut a 2 by 4 inch piece of vellum. So I wanted to just add a little bit more depth and dimension to the card. Then I just cut a 1 7/8 inch circle. So I'm using the layering circle dies again. So I stamped my image on here and already colored it in. So I just used those Daffodil Delight Stampin' Blends to color this in, and I'm just adhering it to a circle shape. And then I'm just gonna layer it right on top of my doily, and then I'm gonna add this to the card. So you can just create a lot of fun layers with the doilies and with the layering circle dies. The next thing I did is just created another one of those embossed sentiments or greetings here that says Happy Easter. So I'm just gonna pop that up on the card. And then we're just gonna finish off this card with a couple pearls. So there you go. That was a pretty simple one. And it's just super cute. I think this is probably my favorite. So which one is your favorite? I'd love to know. And then again on the inside, I just used up a couple scrap pieces of designer paper just to decorate the inside. Okay, so there you go. Now you have 4 different card ideas that you can use to create cards for any occasion. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.